Hey everybody, this is Robert People and you're listening to People's Court. Thank you for tuning in. We're halfway through the year, in the second half of the year. This is Monday, July 1st, 2019, and I am making my first attempt of doing this live. So if you're here to join me for this live, thank you so much for being here. What I want to talk a little bit about today is the bashing of Democrats. We're in the area of politics now, and we're talking about the bashing of Democrats. However, where is that bashing coming from? Well, in this case, other Democrats. Now, I'm talking about the many Democratic presidential candidates we have right now. And I don't know what the latest number is in total. It's close to 20, or I don't know if we surpassed 20 yet, but we are pretty close to it. Okay. And where we are right now, and I'm not talking about bashing just in the sense of, saying that, we don't agree or whatever case with whichever one, whichever candidate, where their stances are and so forth and everything. What I'm talking about is, we're talking bashing as though these are Republicans, as though these are, their opponents, yes. But I'm talking about the way you would expect people to bash their adversaries. Now, for one thing, probably one of the most disturbing and worst comments I've heard is when people say, and quite a few have said this, if such and such does not win the Democratic nomination, well, I'm just staying home. I'm not going to go vote. I can't tell you everything that's wrong with that statement. Because if we are in a place, if our country is in a place right now where what Trump is doing, with Trump and his administration, which of course has directly led to the behaviors of other Republicans, of the Republican politicians and his supporters. If what's going on now does not have you disturbed enough to where you're okay with him remaining there, we have a serious problem. We're talking 2 years of this, and it only looks like things are going to continue to get worse. I don't even know how, if you are a Democrat, I don't know how we aren't there yet. Now, this is not to try to advocate for anybody to vote for the person I want to vote for, or to get anyone to say, hey, we all need to vote for the same person. No, of course not. Absolutely not. But we've had the debates. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't watched the debates, but I'm seeing the responses to a lot of them. And again, Democrats are bashing other Democratic, whoever they're not voting for, they're bashing them as though they're the enemy. Now, I know to a degree that's what it is, but we know what the end goal is. And that's where our focus needs to be. Whatever that end goal, not whatever it is. We know what it is, but that's where our focus needs to be. And there's no way anybody should be so angry about the possibility of their Democratic candidate losing that they're okay with Trump remaining president if that happens. To where you're saying, I'm just going to stay home. Now, I'm not a believer in just vote for, this person if the one you want doesn't work. Yeah, I don't believe in that, the lesser of two evils. But you know what? Sadly, that's where we are as a country right now. As much as I can't stand that, as much as many of us can't stand that, that's just where we are. The United States is a majority two-party system. So as nice as it would be to see other people get in there, to see independents win, Right now, we're just not in a place where it looks like that's possible. It's Republican or Democrat. That's the hole we've dug for ourselves. So where we are now, what's my whole point? My entire point of all this is we are at a place where we need to simply say, you know what? We as I'm meaning Democrats with each other, we can fight later. But we need to come together for a common goal, and that's to get Trump and his administration. I feel like he's going to just, anytime somebody looks at him wrong, they're going to get fired. So the administration, yeah, there'll be a problem, but only until he has an issue with him. But to get him and the rest of them out of there, that's the end goal. Now, is that going to mean that the person you want to win is going to do it? Is going to advance to be able to challenge him? Maybe, maybe not. It's possible. But we need to get him out of there. It's that simple. If you are not where if you don't feel we're in that this is a dire situation right now, you haven't been paying attention. Not to mention, there is no way any sane person would be in a place where you're more angry at what's happened. You're more angry at your candidate, your Democratic candidate, not winning the Democratic nomination than you are at the things that have gone on in this country under Trump. There's no way. We're looking at children dying on the border. No, not on the border, in our custody. Let's make sure we're clear on that. Children aren't dying at the border. They're dying in our custody. Now, for everybody who wants to say, well, the parents shouldn't have brought them up here, guess what? There's a lot of people that we, meaning the United States, hired. A lot of people we hired to do a job. Okay? And that job is, as I might be off a little word here or word there, you get the idea. The job is to work in these ICE facilities. Not to take it upon themselves to just decide somebody doesn't need a toothbrush, doesn't need toothpaste, doesn't need toiletries, doesn't need hygiene supplies, doesn't need water. They weren't hired to decide that. They were hired to provide it. They don't get to just say, well, you know what? Hey, it's on them because they shouldn't have come up. Because if we're going to say the hell with it, those people don't need to be employed. When we have things like that going on, and that doesn't have you more angry than your Democratic candidate possibly losing, something's wrong. We have people, we're talking on video. People on video, straight up, racist comments, physically attacking people of color, police officers. Again, on video, on non-edited video. And so many are straight up referencing Trump, saying straight, plain English, saying he is the reason they're doing this. Trump is going to get you all out of here, you all meaning brown people, you all meaning anyone Latin, even though, yes, there are a lot of Latin folks who are not here illegally, to include Puerto Ricans, which a lot of folks seem to think they're here illegally also. The Ku Klux Klan, which I saw somebody on Facebook post that the media was making that up. It's a shame. It is a damn shame that there are people out there who don't believe the Ku Klux Klan is still active. Oh, they're active in a lot of places. Not far from here, from what I understand. And throughout, of course, other parts of the country. We have, some time ago, we all remember the journalist, I believe it was Washington Post journalist who was murdered in Saudi Arabia. We have North Korea. Trump, doing everything short of getting in bed with that man. Vladimir Putin, who basically is playing Trump like a puppet, and that's about the nicest way I can put that. We have all that going on. There's no way that stuff doesn't have you, you're not that upset at that stuff, but your candidate not winning has you so angry that you're going to say, you know what? Everything can stay exactly as it is right now. No way. Again, this is Robert People, and I'm live this time, so hopefully I'm not sure. If you have any comments, feel free to leave those comments. I'd love to hear what you all have to say about that. But, as children, I was told this. I'm not sure if any of you were, and I'm sure this isn't I wasn't the only one. My mother and father used to say to us, especially my older brother and I, when our sisters came along too, but I heard it a lot at a very young age. They said, they would say, you two can fight like cats and dogs when you're in here, meaning in the house. But when you get outside, y'all defend each other. You stick up for each other. You fight for each other. And that's where I feel that's where we are right now. When we can fight amongst ourselves. Privately, we can have our coffee table discussions or round table discussions with each other. Oh, I'm okay with this candidate, whatever. You can even get intense if you want to. But when we are talking about where Republicans, conservatives, where they can see and know everything going on, when you're going on social media and you're just I'm talking about blasting hard, shotgun blast, like we used to say in the military. You're beating, I'm voting for this candidate. I don't like this one over here. So I'm going to write a post that's like 20 paragraphs long, and I'm going to call that person everything but a child of God because I'm not going to vote for him. And this is exactly what conservatives and Republicans want. They're already celebrating that. They're already saying things like, let them fight, let them kill each other, and Trump's going to stay in office. And damn fine, I want to pull my tongue out saying this, but they have a point. We get to fighting each other like that. Guess what? We're making it easy for them. We might as well say, hey, you know what? Just keep your stuff in the Oval Office. Don't even bother moving. I hope y'all hearing what I'm saying, because this is not to say you need to vote for this person. Now you might say, well, wait a minute. Robert, aren't you telling us we got to vote for a Democratic candidate? No. You've already decided that, so I thought. You've already made the decision that you're going to vote for the Democratic candidate. If you're watching the debates, if you've already chosen one person, you've made that decision already. So this isn't to tell you need to vote for this person over that person. This isn't even about that. This is to simply say, if you are for this person and against these other Democratic candidates, then for the sake of getting Trump out of office, and for the sake of everything that this country needs to do in order to repair itself and to heal itself, don't spend more time bad-mouthing the candidates that you're not going to vote for. Don't do that. People are going back and forth. Democrats are going back and forth and practically cussing each other out. And it's like you would think they were Republican versus Democrat. No, two Democrats. Two liberals, they're going against each other hard. And don't do that. You don't have to like the same person. Nobody's saying that at all. But look at what's going on right now. The stuff's going on, and right now, Trump said this. We all remember what he said. January 2016, before he got into office, we know what he said. I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and not lose voters. Which, of course, now since he's in office, that translates to not lose support. And where are we sitting? We are sitting right there where it looks very much like he could do that. He gets caught in lies and he just kind of, well, whatever. And the supporters are like, hey, he misspoke. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that funny how in the beginning of this whole thing, the beginning of all this, people said, Republicans and conservatives said, I love Trump because, he says what he means. I love Trump because he says what he means. And what have we been spending the last 2 years having to hear from them? Well, Trump didn't mean that when he said it. So he means what he says. That's why we love him, right? Conservatives are saying. But you spent the last 2.5, I'm sorry, I said 2 years earlier, 2.5 years telling us every time he's caught in a lie, he didn't mean that when he didn't mean that. That's not what he meant. How do you know what he meant to say? No, he got caught in a lie. And a lie in the past 5 minutes, and then another one came after that, and then another one came after that one. So of course, that's where we are. And I would even go against saying, and before this administration, before this election, I would tell people, I would say, even as a Democrat myself, I would say, no, watch the debates, choose the person you feel, because believe it or not, it never, at least in my lifetime, before now, it didn't feel that we were in such grave danger that I would tell somebody, you absolutely have to vote Democrat. People told me that, but I wouldn't say that. I didn't feel like we were in that bad a shape. Now, I know before y'all say it, President Bush Jr., President Bush Jr. And I would say being in the military, of course, when 9/11 happened, that's when things, at least when my involvement and my know-how of everything began to really take shape. And that looked pretty bad, right? But now we look at Bush. I never thought I would see the day that Democrats would look at Bush and with love and want to embrace him and all this. Now we are. But back when he was in there, we weren't doing that. Now we're in a place where, and let me say this. Even I would still have that stance of don't go Democrat, look at both sides. If there were not Republicans still supporting what Trump's doing. If Trump was on an island by himself, then I would say, Democrat or Republican, pick one, choose, look at the candidates and choose. But if the people who want to replace him, or the ones going against him, or the ones back, if anybody who's going to take his spot is essentially doing and supporting all of what he supports, no, we can't have that. This is an emergency. I could sit here all day and name everything he's done. How about the shutdown? The 33 days, I believe it was, shutdown. Why? Because he wanted money for the border. That, by the way, Mexico was supposed to be paying for. And don't you get on here, conservatives, and say, well, they're going to pay by tariffs, or they're going to pay in the form of taxes, or we're going to take a dime from them every other week, and we're going to get out. Stop it. Mexico's not doing anything. Mexico is like, let me keep it clean for y'all. Mexico essentially is basically straight up said, no, we ain't paying nothing in any way, shape, and form. There is nothing additional Mexico is paying for that we can take the money and put it toward the border. Once and for all, that's it. And think about it, y'all. Even if they were going to do that, then we don't need any money we don't need shutdowns, okay? We don't need all this nonsense. Not to mention, where were we on the GoFundMe page? If Mexico is paying for the wall, how are the same people saying Mexico's paying for the wall with all these tariffs and taxes and everything, and you're still donating to GoFundMe for what? What are you donating to GoFundMe if Mexico's paying for this wall? When Trump said that, he said they're going to write a check and that's going to be it. He didn't say anything about no tariffs and all that craziness. So just stop. Government shutdown. What else do we have? Goodness, I could sit here. Y'all get the idea. If y'all been paying attention, y'all know all the things that have gone wrong with Trump in office. Removing security clearances, granting security clearances to people just because he just wants to. Lord knows his Twitter page looks like a freaking. Let me not say that. One thing I will say is this, though. And most of us know what his Twitter page looks like. It's funny how people said, well, I don't want to vote for a woman president. Or the country's not ready for a woman president. Yes, people are still saying that. The country's not ready for a woman president because, women get emotional. They get moody. They have periods and everything. I'm glad somebody paid attention in biology class, but or human anatomy and all that. But, they get all this. And the funny thing is, what are we seeing from Trump right now? Every day on Twitter. All the same stuff you see from those supposed women who can't be president. We're getting all the mood swings. We're getting all the moodiness, what seems like periods every other day. We're getting, the emotional, and when we say emotional, and I can't speak for everybody out there, but when I say emotional, I'm not talking about legitimate, we all need to be emotional when it comes to certain things. So I don't say emotional as an insult. I don't say emotional in one context as an insult. Emotional in general shouldn't be an insult. We all need to get that. But I'm talking about he's emotional over Saturday Night Live because Alec Baldwin made fun of him again. The same thing has happened to every other president for who knows how long. And he's on there cussing them out. Saturday Night Live ain't nothing. NBC ain't nothing. Everybody's mama's this and that. And for what? They're doing the same thing they've done to all the other presidents. Barack Obama was made fun of. And the thing is, some of them are just like, they're looking at it like, they think it's funny too. So a few have even come onto the show. And they're like, yeah, y'all doing what y'all been doing, so hey. But we got all this going on. And your mind is stuck on saying, my person has to win, or I'm taking my ball and going home. Yeah, it's lousy. It's lousy that if you really are getting behind a certain candidate and that person doesn't win, that sucks. I understand that. And if you want, and nobody, no, absolutely not. No one should be forced to just vote for somebody because they're a Democrat. And normally I would not advocate that. But what I'm asking you all to strongly, strongly consider is where we are in this country right now. And the fact that the people who are going up against, or who will likely go up against Donald Trump, there's a very good chance, very likely, that they're not going to change a lot of what's happening. For whatever reason, who knows? And right now, the main goal should be get him out of there. Get him out of there. Don't talk to me about how one person has to win because they're their only chance. One Democratic candidate should win because he's the best chance, he or she is the best chance against Trump. I say he, and y'all get that because there are people saying that, as far as I know, I don't have the names. I know Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris. As far as females go, I can't remember who else is there, but people are saying no. It has to be a male. It has to be a white male going up against him because that's the best chance of winning. That's nonsense. That is nonsense. Trump wasn't supposed to win in the first place. So if he was able to get up in there, if he was able to get up in the White House, I don't want to hear how we got to vote for certain people or you have to pick one because you don't know how that's going to go. We never figured we'd have a president who was behaving like this in the first place. So we can't say only one, this person or that person has the best chance of beating him. But the bottom line is this, y'all. We have to stick together for no other reason but just to get him out of there. That's it. Forgive me for how that sounds, but that's where we are right now. As a black man, I'm watching myself a little more when I go out there. Watching myself a little bit more. And it's crazy because I was kind of watching myself before, But I'm having to do it now just because. My wife and I went to a park yesterday, and there was a group. Clearly, what to me at least, based on the flags they had up, was conservative. They weren't a conservative group. Excuse me, getting together, politically. But it looked, from the looks of it, and the flags they had up, it had to do with, I think it had a gun on it and said, "Come try to take it," or what have you. And it came across to me as a group of, people who are politically conservative. And I had to, and again, I'm black and my wife is Latina, and I had to kind of watch them a little bit. I was just like, let's be prepared to, I'm thinking this to myself, we got to be prepared in case somebody wants to pop off and be stupid with us. We even got to a point where I had to leave her for a bit to get the car and bring it back up. Not because anything happened. No, there was no incident. Nothing happened. No one said anything to us or anything. But I did my best in the hot sun to get back to her as quickly as possible. But that's where we are now. That's where we are. Last thing. In Dallas, not far from here, in Dallas, we all know the police officer who broke into the black man's house, shot him, and her excuse was, "Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that was my place." People, more than once I've seen, white police officer, of course, white female police officer, and people have said something, to the effect, they've said this in different ways to the effect, "I know she is guilty, but to watch liberals lose their minds, I hope she gets off." Isn't that something? Knowing somebody is guilty of something, but because they're more concerned with trying to piss us off, they want to see her walk. This is a person who broke into a black man's place, shot him for who the hell knows what reason, shot and killed him. And somebody's mind is so stuck on politics that they want to see her walk if it means they get a quote-unquote a moral victory or bragging rights to the opposite political party. You cannot be a Democrat and okay with that. So please, y'all, stop the fighting amongst yourselves. Talk about the candidate that you like. Talk about them. Write 20 paragraphs on your social media about them. Take pictures, all the memes, everything about them. Stop focusing on the ones that you can't stand and don't like, and this person didn't do this. Don't focus on them. Don't make it look like we're at each other's throats and mad and so mad I'm not gonna vote if my person don't win. Come on. There's no way your person not winning should piss you off more than children dying at the border, black men having their houses broken into as they get shot and killed, people being forced to not work or to work without being paid. Oh my goodness, what else? All the things we got going on. There's no way. Let's come together for this. We can go back to fighting afterward. But let's just stick with, let's not make it so obvious that we're against each other. He doesn't deserve to remain in office as long as he has, and to remain for the rest of this term. Last thing we need to do is give him another full term. He is winging it, and it's dangerous. We're talking Trump, of course. Well, listen, thanks for joining me on my first live episode here, and hope you all are going to, or had a great day. We'll have a good rest of the evening. Again, this is Robert People. You're listening to People's Court. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great night.